This is going to be the background of the Hopi Salt Trail or the Salt Canyon Trail in Arizona. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of what it was like. I'm going to give you a little history, summary, some of the plant fauna, things to pack, things not to pack, and just some tips and tricks. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not going to be for everybody, but this hopefully should help you if you decide to do this hike in the future. The Salt Canyon Trail is a scenic hiking route in Arizona known for its rugged terrain and breathtaking views. This trail offers outdoor enthusiasts a chance to explore the unique geological formations of rich biodiversity of the region. It is a part of the larger network of trails in the Grand Canyon region, providing an adventurous experience for both novice and experienced hikers. The Salt Canyon Trail has historical significance as part of the broader development of hiking and exploration routes in the Grand Canyon area. The trail has been used by Native American tribes for centuries, particularly the Hopi and Navajo, for travel and hunting. Over time, as the area became more accessible to settlers and explorers in the 19th century and early 20th centuries, the trail was developed further to accommodate increasing tourism and interest in the natural beauty of the Grand Canyon. As for the Little Colorado River, it is a significant tributary of the Colorado River running through the states of Arizona and New Mexico. It is known for its striking turquoise blue waters, especially in the section near the confluence with the Colorado River. The river flows through diverse landscapes, including high deserts, deep canyons, and lush riparian zones. So to get to the actual trailhead of the Salt Canyon Trail, it's going to be about a 2-hour drive or 2.5-hour drive from the nearest camping areas or hotels, possibly maybe an hour from hotels, depending on what small area or town you live in, or Airbnb that you might stay at. It's going to be a little far. So just plan ahead. If you want to get there before the sun comes up, you're going to need to probably leave fairly early. We got there around 9-10-ish a.m. in the morning because we left our camping spot probably around maybe 6. And we stopped a few times, and the dirt roads were kind of confusing, somewhat getting to the actual trailhead itself. So keep that in mind. Your GPS on your phone should take you directly there. Just make sure that you're constantly tracking the satellite imagery to see which roads lead where, and you shouldn't get there with any problem whatsoever. So when to go to the actual Salt Canyon Trail? It's going to be best in the spring, fall, and winter. Summertime, you're just going to roast, and it's not going to be fun whatsoever. If you're an avid, experienced hiker and you want to go in the summertime, by all means go, but it's going to be a little bit cooler. I will say camping down close by the river is going to be a little bit more cooler than if you were to camp, say, up past the helicopter pad, which is what we had to do. So the temperature when we got there late May was probably around the 70s on the upper rim, and it was a little cooler in the morning time. And then hiking down into the canyon, when we got down towards the bottom, it was roughly around in the 80s and 90s down there, and it was pretty hot. If we were sitting down and we were in the sunshine, we were sweating. So by the riverside, it's cooler. You get that cool breeze and you get the cool water, so it kind of cools everything off and under the shade trees, which is even nice. So things to consider when you want to do this hike. So the actual hike sits at around 5,700 feet elevation. So if you're coming from sea level like I did and JJ did, it's going to be a little bit tougher and rougher on your body. So you're going to be breathing a little heavier. You're going to be probably getting tired a lot faster just because you're at a higher elevation. You're going to be hiking down to about 2,945 feet of elevation. So there's going to be at least a 2,500 feet of elevation difference. You're going to be hiking, you're going to be coming back up. So try to take all that into account when you decide to go and do this hike for yourself. What we packed, I'm just going to list off the list that we have here that was in our packs. It was split between us. I carried probably a heavier pack just because I had a lot of extra camera gear and other rope in the tent and other things. But I'm going to show this on screen so you guys can see. You can take a screenshot of it when you want. That way you can kind of get a gauge of what maybe you might want to bring or might not want to bring. It's totally up to you. So I brought a tent, I brought a heavy-duty 50-foot rope, brought paracord, 2 gallons of water, multiple flashlights / headlamps, sleeping bags, sleeping pads, water shoes for the river, life straw, bags of beef jerky, and protein bars, light jacket, trash bag, satellite transmitter, machete, camelback for water, Camera gear, roughly about 7 pounds, give or take. Gloves, hats, cell phones, backpack, extra light clothing, just in case we wanted it, or night clothing, towels, and sunscreen. So this was the list that we had. I will say everybody in the comments says to pack light. I will say pack light. It's definitely going to be worth it. My pack weighed probably roughly about 35 to 40 pounds with all the water and everything in it. And it was very heavy going up and down the canyon. When the water was gone, it felt so much better, but it's still a hike. So pack light, I will say, it is very warm at the bottom, so consider not taking a heavy-duty sleeping bag when you go. You might just need a light blanket or no blanket at all if you're good in your clothing and you just kind of want to sleep there. I will say we were sleeping at the bottom of the canyon and literally sweating because the sun was still coming in our tent as it was setting, and it was just so hot. So it took us a long time, myself, to get to sleep. So just keep that in mind. If you find a good tent camping spot near the river, you're probably going to be set. It's probably going to be a little bit cooler and a little bit better. You need to invest in a small tent. If you don't have a small tent, you kind of want one, because a big tent, whoever's going to be carrying that, if you're a couple, just make sure that you're cool with it and you're good with it. But I will say the little one-man tents are probably the best way to go for that. If you wanted to take photos, know how far you're willing to take a nice camera and extra batteries. All right, it's so nice to take photos of this beautiful little Colorado River when you get to the bottom and it's turquoise blue. But keep in mind that extra camera gear is going to weight you down pretty quick, and you're probably going to be so tired you're not going to want to take any videos or photos. You probably will, just because it's like once in a lifetime experience if you're like a photo junkie or video junkie just like me. So it just might not matter. But cell phone can work just as fine. Just make sure you got plenty of room on it when you're taking photos and videos. That way you don't run out of, like I said, you don't run out of room. You do not need a 50-foot heavy-duty climbing rope. 20 foot of paracord will work just fine for any of your needs. You may need it if you're inexperienced and need to lower or raise your pack up and down. Not saying you'll need the paracord or the rope. I didn't use it at all, me and JJ, but it might come in handy for those of you that might want to take your pack off and pull it up some of the places you're going to have to climb up the trail. We'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But 50-foot rope was probably about 4 pounds. It was heavy. It sucked. Pack only enough food that you know you will need to eat. All right, so we packed too much. We didn't know how much to really pack. I didn't really eat the evening of or the morning of hiking out of the canyon just because I was so dehydrated and I didn't want any saltiness and I didn't want to drink any more water than I had to. So I didn't eat. I just didn't feel really good because I was so tired and dehydrated from the hike before. It was just pretty gruesome out in that sunshine. If you were used to one set of clothes with maybe one extra set of undergarments, you should be fine. So if you're used to hiking in one set of clothes and you don't take any with you, that's great. You're probably going to want that. But if you need something to sleep in, something light, I highly suggest light unless it's going to be cold at the bottom of the canyon. Then you're going to be needing the sweatpants, sweatshirt, maybe a light jacket or whatever. But yeah, just pack light because it's going to be warm. Okay, so you're going to be on Navajo land. So what you're going to do is need to contact the Navajo Nation to get a permit. This is going to be, the phone number is 928-679-2303. You're going to need to get the permit for however many days you're going to be out there. So just keep that in mind. So the trail itself is an 8.4 mile there and back trail. It's going to seem a little bit longer just because of the steep elevation gain. So keep that in mind. All right, this is on all trails. You can find it. It's fairly simple, and you can keep track of it on that app if you want. So the first section of the actual trail is rock scramble. You're going to be coming down rocks and climbing down different things. It's going to be about a mile. So keep that in mind. It's going to be very loose, different gravelly areas. Just kind of go slow and gauge what you're doing. There's some spots where you will climb. All right. You're not going to escape it. You're going to be climbing some of the areas. So this will either be a huge area where boulders are or large walls ranging from 5 to 10 feet tall. We literally had to do this like a couple of times. Footing can be found, and you need to test it out in some areas before attempting to climb, just because the water will wash some of these rocks. You don't know how sturdy they are in the soil that's there. So just make sure that you guys are aware of that and know what you're getting into before you make these climbs and kind of scope that out. You can climb with your pack on. Like I said, we did. We were fine. We didn't take them off to tossed to each other. We only did one time, and that was coming back up just because we were so tired. He threw his to me, and I grabbed it and brought it up for him. The trail has spots of nice flat rocks, all right, and it also has loose gravel you're going to be walking on. And you can lose your footing fairly quickly, so be careful. Make sure you have good hiking boots, stuff that's got good grip to them underneath, all right? I will say, if you wear boots, our boots got tore up on the rocks, okay? It's like volcanic rock, very sharp rocks in some areas, so the bottom of my shoes or my boots were very messed up. Not terrible if I looked at them like in a broad camera angle, but if you look finely at them, you can definitely see where it cut them up. All right, so watch out for snakes in certain seasons. We didn't see any snakes when we were going on the way back up. I didn't care. I kind of wish we came across a snake so it would wake me up because I was just so tired and disoriented. It was just like, I just want to get to the top. But do be careful. Watch out for snakes. They are there, but you might not see any. Also, do watch out for cactuses. More than likely, you are going to get prickled. It's just fact of nature. They're everywhere. You really can't avoid them. Just make sure you wear long clothing and, just watch your footing and stuff. Wear gloves. I'm going to say this. Please, please, please wear gloves. All right? Do not attempt this without gloves on your hands. Some of the rock is volcanic looking and is extremely rugged or sometimes sharp. You need gloves. Our gloves were in tatters by the end of our journey. There were holes in them all up and down in the fingertips and in the palm. If you're experienced and don't need them, have fun. That's all I'm going to say. Wear long pants, all right? This is for climbing, cactuses, and anything else that might want to cut your legs or possibly try to nip at your heels or ankles. It's just kind of nice to have because you're going to be scrambling over rocks and you're not going to be tearing up your skin at all. Keep in mind, sunscreen is necessary. If you do not cover your entire body with clothes, you might want it for your face, your neck, or anything like that. If you don't have a hat, that's going to cover your entire area. And you'll probably need it for the water as well if you decide on getting in the water like we did at the bottom. A hat is needed for the sun. You don't have to have a hat. It's up to you. You might need a beanie or a scully in the wintertime if you're going down there and the weather's really chilly. A long shirt is useful, but not needed for hiking. I like a long shirt just because it keeps the sun off me, and it also helps when you're rock climbing to not really scratch up your arms and things like that. There are some sections of the trail where you will need to stop and think about what you will do to keep moving forward. It's always good to plan ahead, so you're going to come to these spots where you need to assess, hey, how am I going to get down this? Or, hey, how am I going to get up this? What's the smart way? Am I going to need to get on my butt and scooch across, or am I just going to take a step down? So don't be running and gunning it. Just kind of take some time, think about it, and then plan your moves. That way you don't need to be evacuated out there, airlifted, or you have a broken ankle or leg or arm or possibly a broken neck, God forbid. All right, next is follow the cairns. So this is good. All right, so these cairns, they mark the trail. Always keep an eye out for them. Do not make new ones. Please don't make new ones because this may confuse other hikers like it did us. I have a feeling somebody made a few extra cairns and we got off track about 15 minutes and we had to backtrack up some rocks and boulders and scramble, and it was miserable. So like I said, some may even lead you astray, which happened to us. If you find yourself lost, if you do, please, please keep this and note this. Make sure you note where the last cairn was and backtrack to it immediately. This is extremely important. Don't try to go any further. Don't try to be that superhero looking for, I know where the trail is. I got in. Like, you might wind up on a cliff. You might not want to figure out a good way to get down, and you might get injured. So please just backtrack to the last cairn and kind of look around for the next cairn that you see, and just kind of be smart about it, or have your friends scout about it and put your pack down. They're there. Trust me. Okay. So you can usually pick out the trail by looking for the worn spots on the ground or footprints. The trail is pretty beaten down in some areas. So if you're a good tracker, you're used to looking at game trails, different things like that, you'll be able to find the trail pretty easy. You can see it from up the cliffside, down, and sometimes you're not going to see it at all. But just have common sense, you'll see the footprints and stuff. Plant fauna. You're going to come across many different types of plants on the trail, mainly cactuses, a few grasses. Down at the river, you're going to come across willows and reeds and water grasses and things like that. But on the trail, it's going to be mainly cactuses. So to name a few, you're going to be coming across the banana yucca, the Utah agave, prickly pear, the whipple cholla, the Arizona fishhook pincushion, the cotton top cactus, the pincushion cactus, and claret cup hedgehog cactus. They're all on the hike. In some seasons, some of them are going to be blooming, and other seasons they're not. Very, very beautiful cactuses. Just leave them alone because they will prickle you. Okay, so important. What time to hike back up to the rim from the river once you're there? This is the question that I had. We didn't know, me and my buddies, so thankfully there was a scientist down there who has done this trail over 100 times. And he told us the best time to leave the bottom is around 4:30 a.m. to beat the sun. This is so it's not beaming down on you and dehydrating you and zapping the life and energy out of you. Because once the sun's coming down, it's almost like game over, and it's a complete mind game. So you got to keep that in your mind. It is a mind game when you're hiking up and trying to do that. In order to avoid cooking in the sun, hike at 4:30 a.m. All right. The sun will be coming up and casting a shadow most of the way. At the same time, you will be hiking away from the sun and hugging the shadows. That way you'll stay in the shadows the whole time going up the canyon. Once you are in the sun, you will not escape it. All right. Once you fall behind and you're in the sun taking too many breaks, it's too late. Okay, you're just going to have to suffer and suck it up. I will say that when you start at 4:30 a.m., you're going to be in the dark. You're going to need headlamps, and we did this. I didn't film any of that section just because it was too dangerous trying to find the trail, and we lost our ways a couple of times. So it might happen to you guys. The cairns can get kind of a little bit tricky at night looking for trails because other people have ventured off, and you're like, oh, that might be a trail. And we got lost for about 15, 20 minutes. Then we came back, a realization, probably about twice in the dark. And it was a little miserable, but it's worth it because you're not going to hit that sunshine. All right, so the water. Water is a key, main important player for you. All right, so 2 gallons of water should be plenty for a hike down and back up for an experienced hiker. Okay, 3 gallons will be needed if the weather is hotter and you need hydration. You're a more inexperienced hiker. Bigger guys like me who are not used to that coming from sea level, we're going to need probably around 3 gallons of water. We got down to the bottom and we were very lucky that the scientists had some extra water and they actually gave us some water. So thank you to the United States Fish and Wildlife Service for doing that. We really appreciate you guys and for the information you gave us to help complete this hike. It will take at least 3 liters of water to make it up from the river to the rim not being in the sun. This was the advice the scientists gave us, and it was exactly correct. I filled the camelback up with the gallon of water, drank the rest of it before heading out, got to the top, was down to the near bottom little bit of my camelback with water. So 3 liters of water is needed to be getting back out of the canyon. It is best to keep the water in the middle of your pack until you need to put it in your camelback. All right, for the extra gallons of water, make sure it's in your pack, not flinging around on the outside of your pack, because if it is going around some of those steep drop-offs that you're climbing on, it could swing you with that extra weight in your backpack and just swing you right off the edge or ledge or whatever it is. So keep it smart, keep all that heavy item, pack your gear accordingly on your pack. Just make sure it's neat so you're not getting thrown all over the place on the trail. So the Little Colorado River, I just want to let it be known that it's not always beautiful blue like it was for us. We got very, very lucky, all right? It will take some time to gauge the weather just right and make sure it hasn't rained in the past couple of weeks because the rain's going to create mud. It's going to gather in the river, and it's just going to be real, real nasty, okay? So if it has been raining, the river will be muddy, and some people will not want to hike down to the bottom when they get there. All right, some of your crew members, whoever you're going with, might want to turn around when they see the muddy waters. There's been a couple of reviews where people have done that, so keep that in mind. It's kind of a game changer, kind of a bummer. So just kind of plan accordingly, and keep in mind what your goals are if this is the case. If your goal is to get to the bottom and you don't care, get to the bottom. This is a trail. It's a hike. It's supposed to be a fun, challenging adventure experience for whoever's going to take it. All right, it doesn't have to be crappy or hard. You can make it fun for yourself, but I will say that you need to be training for this. All right, this is nothing that you want to get up and do after being 2 months of stagnant, watching TV and going to work or whatever, thinking, oh, I'm going to hike this trail. This is going to be good. No, you need to make sure that you're adequately training, probably running, working out at the gym, doing something like JJ said in the last video that we took for this video. So if you want more of a realistic video of like an adventure hike, you can go check out my other video on YouTube I did of this. This is just a factual, informational video on how the hike was and what to expect and where it is, and a little bit more about it. If this didn't help you, don't worry. Just take it with a grain of salt. You can go ahead and drop down below, send me a comment, and I'll go ahead and answer whatever questions you may have. There's a lot of other people that have videos on this, so ask them too. Just don't go out there alone. I would highly suggest taking a buddy with you if you go, just because it is that difficult and that hard to do, and you don't want to be stuck out there if something were to hypothetically happen to you. Some people do it. They can do it. They're experienced. It's good on them. Good on them. But just play it safe, all right? You only get one life to live, so take care of it. But with that, like I said, any questions, comment down below. I'll get back to you. If you liked this video and you thought it was factual or helpful, just go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and just go ahead and share it to other people that might be interested in taking this hike. So thank you so much. And if you guys like this video, hopefully I'll get some more videos put out, or I can do a follow-up video on this if there's more questions that need to be answered. So thank you so much.